The number of extremist offenders incarcerated in Europe has increased. As a result, a significant number of convicts will be released in the near future. The question now is how to reintegrate those who have served their prison sentences and how to prevent further violent extremist acts. Expectations are high, so are the challenges associated with multi-agency cooperation. One difficulty may be to ensure all the different stakeholders work together to have a reintegration plan adopted. Another difficulty is related to data and information gathering from practitioners to develop further interventions. Setting realistic goals and achieving success at an individual pace remains one of the biggest challenges. RAN brought together policymakers and practitioners from the police, prison and probation services to discuss the challenges of resocialization in Vienna on November 6, 2018. Rehabilitation and reintegration programs.
Well, we have a system in place in which we already start with exit plans when they're in detention. So in detention it could be anything really, psychologists, imams, maybe start an education. And then we already have probation services in jail or in prisons to assist. They're part of the detention and reintegration plan. The specialized team also supports ex-offenders when they get out of prison on probation. When that period is over, the municipality will take over.
The main idea is to work together and in a more coordinated way. What does it mean? This means very in particular to create a unique center of intelligence for dealing with this issue, to coordinate better the police forces, to have a clear approach between prisoner probation and a link of prisoner probation with the police forces, as well to involve NGOs that has some importance in Muslim context.
Nous travaillons avec une série de pourvoyeurs de services qui travaillent, eux, en individuel, de manière spécialisée sur la thématique de l'extrémisme violent ou en groupe sur la même thématique. Et donc là, par contre, nous avons sérié avec le temps toute une série de bonnes pratiques, de bonnes initiatives. Je pense notamment à des stratégies communicationnelles, relationnelles qui permettent de développer des relations positives au niveau professionnel avec ces personnes.
If you want to put someone or help someone to get out of these groups, there must be something you can offer them. Which is like I say with alcoholics, you say if you don't drink, what do you do instead? Because you can take a long time drinking the whole day, but if you stop, what do you do with your time? So what can these people do? So I think the most important point is that the person must feel a need or an urge to leave this scene, and our work is to help them to get to some plans, find some ideas, and together with the people, consult them and accompany them on their way.
I think the most important thing now is to offer them real employment possibilities, because if we start with the needs of the person, if we start with his beliefs, what he wants to do, in life, we could offer them some opportunities, but they are it's quite difficult for them now with a criminal record, with this kind of offense, because society, some employers are quite afraid about giving their trust to those kind of offenders.
Unlocking doors.
What do you need from practitioners to conduct exit programs?
Our challenge is to get all those different institutions to work together and have the detention and reintegration plan adopted by all. So if you start your plan, maybe 3 years later, you have the steps made, but the institutions will still know where it started from and what accomplishments you have made.
The role of prison and trust.
How can we help you to complete the exit process?
I think that for our work in prison, the most important thing is that we can, of course, have access to the offenders in prison. So I think they could facilitate support programs. But I think it's also important to give access to the offenders of internet, for example, of training, education, distance courses, because of course that are really important points for reintegration. So we see that at the moment there are some difficulties in prisons in Belgium, because most of those type of offenders are in specialized wings or are in isolation.
Only long-term approaches and strategies have the potential to ensure successful reintegration. Exit strategies are vital and should start long before extremist offenders are released from prison. The chance of recidivism decreases if they have become detached from their radical networks and if time in prison is spent by working on disengagement and de-radicalization. Rehabilitation of violent extreme offenders is all about change, and it is a long process. Practitioners working with the ex-offenders inside the prison need to continue their counseling role on the outside to secure a lasting, trustful relationship and to maintain stability.